We begin tonight with a guilty verdict in the murder of St. Louis County Police Officer Blake Snyder. The jury came back less than 30 minutes ago after about 4.5 hours of deliberations. Thanks for joining us. I'm Kay Quinn.
I'm Art Holliday. Brandon Morano just stepped out of the courtroom and is live with the latest. Brandon?
In the jury assembly.
Yeah, Art, that verdict is murder in the first degree, which means Trenton Forster will spend the rest of his life in prison. Now, by law, he is entitled to a sentencing hearing. That hearing was scheduled for April 18th, but he waived his right to that hearing. I want to take you directly into the courtroom and describe it for you the best that I can. We just got out about 20 minutes ago. I was sitting right in front of Trenton Forster's family, right in front of his mom, and when the judge read the verdict to Forster, he let out a audible gasp, and his mom just collapsed and started sobbing. On the other side of the coin, Snyder's family and friends, very quiet, but when they got out, they were met by a lot of support from St. Louis County police officers out in the hallway after they heard the verdict. Wesley Bell shaking hands with prosecutors right after the verdict was read, and Forster just sitting there basically slouched in his chair, not really conveying a whole lot of emotion after the judge read the verdict. So he is guilty, to recap, of first-degree murder, which means he will spend the rest of his life in jail, and he's also guilty on all counts. We're expecting soon to hear from Wesley Bell. We're going to hear from the chief of the St. Louis County Police Department, and we may or may not hear from Elizabeth Snyder, the widow of Blake Snyder. Now, one more thing. I did talk with Trenton Forster's family at lunch today, and I actually rode the elevator down here to this live shot with his aunt, who kept her composure really through the hallway and then just kind of collapsed in the elevator. So really emotional times for both sides, both families during this trial. For now, I'll send it back to you, and I'll let you know when more becomes available.
All right, Brandon, I know we're waiting for this news conference to begin. You're standing by there for us. Who else was in the courtroom for the verdict? We know earlier this morning there was a large St. Louis County police presence. What was the makeup of the room when the verdict came in?
In his closing statements this morning.
Right, so you have the main courtroom, which is on the 4th floor, and then an overflow room, which held more than 200 St. Louis County police officers who are watching it via teleconference. So the main courtroom mostly made up of Snyder's family, friends, a couple close family friends from the department, and then on the other side, you had Forster's family and friends and distant relatives. And then there were no witnesses today, so no witnesses were in the courtroom. It was basically just the media in the front row, Snyder's family on the left side, Forster's family on the right side.
All right, we'll check back in with you when that news conference begins. So here's the difference between first-degree murder and second-degree murder. To get a first-degree murder conviction, prosecutors must convince jurors that it was planned out, a deliberate killing. There are only two possible sentences: life in prison without the possibility of parole, or the death penalty. Second-degree murder is what's often referred to as a crime of passion, something that happened in the moment. Sentencing guidelines are 10 to 30 years, and you must serve at least 85% of the sentence you're given. Stay with 5 on your side for constant updates on this case.